I'm streaming. Hi, everyone. All right, we are streaming, and here we are. Hey, Susan, we are ready to go. We haven't been on in a while, and we're getting a new show all set up and ready. So please excuse us if we have any little quick things that don't work right, gremlins. So I'm Rick Zanotti with Relate Corporation, and welcome to eLearnChat. I am joined today by my good friend and co-host. We've done a lot of shows together, and she's our co-host here on eLearnChat, Susan Nash, Dr. Susan Nash. How you doing today, Susan?
Great, so great to be here. And this is a momentous day. We've been talking about the advent of the new version of Moodle, and it's here today.
Today, and you thought it was going to be out maybe in a week or two, and they
I
fooled you.
did.
They
I
they were
did.
very discreet. They snuck in on her. Anyway, for those who don't know, let's start our intro, and then we'll get into it. Maybe the intro doesn't want to play.
You want to go quick play?
Huh?
You might go quick play?
Yeah, it's not working. Here we go.
There we go.
This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation. Visit us at www.relatecasts.net. Thanks.
And we are, I think, back. Yeah,
Yes,
we're
we are.
back. And, ah, um, I haven't literally switched in about 7 years. So it's been a long time. So I'm looking at everything's working except we have to fix the whole pad up and clean it up and do all sorts of stuff. Uh, but anyway, if anybody's interested, this is Dr. Susan's URL. You can take a look at that. That is the eLearn Queen at blogspot.com. So you can figure out where Susan is.
And actually, it's not e-learning corgi.
We couldn't get that to work.
It redirected.
It
Oh,
would
that's
redirect.
interesting.
I think it might be a vMix issue because what happens is it redirects, and it didn't seem like vMix would pick it up. So we're not sure why. We have
Oh,
to
I
do
think
some.
because, yeah, it's elearningcorgi.com, but then it goes to my old blog of eLearning Queen. So that explains it.
Right. So, and it wouldn't do the
Yeah.
redirect, so we went direct to your blog spot, and it worked perfectly. Anyway,
Oh,
go to her
nice.
site. She's got lots of good information out there, and she's fun. So let's get started. We talked about. Did you know this? I did not know this until today. Moodle is the number one LMS in the world.
Yes, and I think that it's become incredibly institutionalized because a lot of providers have like used it for years. And I think I didn't realize it was number one though. I thought it had slipped a bit.
No, they said it's number one. Number one, probably most number of users.
Well, that makes sense because we think about it, it's used for K through 12 or primary school, and then also high school and college as universities, and also
Yeah.
it's used in training.
Yeah, and that's a lot of content. I didn't realize it was used all over the world. I figured it was used at
Mhm.
least in some countries, but I guess it's used just about everywhere, which is
Well, one of the
which is
things that Moodle has built in is they have all the different languages built in. So over the years that first started working with Moodle, and it was like version 1.9, and then it went to 2 was a big rollout, 3
hmm,
was a bigger rollout, and now 4 is sort of modernizing the user experience. But the fundamentals are the same, and that is it's just easy. It's about interacting with people. So it's kind of focused around, you build it around either modules or units, but you can even just, but it has all different kinds of elements that you bring in.
so this is more of a major upgrade.
It's a major upgrade.
Major upgrade, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody's used to using Moodle, they've probably been a little bit frustrated with it over the years because there's kind of a learning curve, and I mean, it's never had a really easy to use dashboard.
Right,
It's
right.
never been intuitive, all different kinds of things that are kind of clunky. And now it's really smooth.
But isn't Moodle not only a learning management system, but it's really a content management system.
I would say that, except the content that you can house there is pretty limited.
Oh, it is.
So
Okay.
I would, yeah. So you're not going to you have a file space issue.
Okay.
So you can link out and you can bring stuff in, but or embed, but I wouldn't count on it to use it. But then today, so many people use um, Microsoft 365, or they
Hmm.
use uh, Google or whatever, so they can use that storage.
Now, with Moodle, and I've never worked on Moodle. I think I've played with it once, but I never actually installed it or got through it. Is Moodle hosted on your servers or is it hosted on their servers?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Years ago, people would download it and host it on premise. And so you would usually have somebody who would be in charge of having the server on site and then administering the server and tying it into all of the legacy systems like the enrollment management system, et cetera. But now you can either, I like to use Moodle Cloud because
Hmm.
Moodle Cloud is a cloud-based version. It used to be free for a while, and you can use it for free for 30 days now, but it's very inexpensive. And then you also have Moodle partners, and they will help you set up the courses, et cetera, if you don't want to. But Moodle Cloud has the basic formats, and then on top of that, if you go to Moodle.org, they don't have all the documentation up yet for Moodle 4.0 because today's the birthday. it's,
Right.
but it has massive and extensive documentation. So it's very, very helpful in terms of just being able to negotiate and set up your own. And then there's even a sandbox where you can play and
Yeah.
set up stuff.
So it's a pretty good system. Now, would you say it's the most popular in colleges, universities? Did they use it in high school? I heard they use it even in some grammar schools, but mostly what, high schools and colleges?
Well, okay, so when COVID happened and high schools had to switch over instantly,
Mm.
a lot of them went over to Google Classroom, and they just hated it because
Mm.
there's not really any functionality. Whereas Moodle has a lot of functionality and it's inexpensive and it's open source. So
Yeah.
one of the reasons why there's so much out there for it is because there's so many themes and it's responsive, so it works really well with and some of the themes like Boost and a classic theme. It will work well on your phone or on your laptop, on your tablet, and so that's why it's so popular. Um, but in terms of whether or not people there's been a learning curve, and so 3.11, which was the older one,
Hmm.
I would say that if somebody was totally new to Moodle, they were frustrated. And I
Mm.
do know of a few colleges that use Moodle um, here in the US, but I think it's really, really big in, say, UK and Europe
Oh,
and Asia.
okay. Where's it developed out of, or is it kind of an international effort?
My sense is that that's a really good question. I mean, Houston, when you pay for different services, it was you would pay in Australian dollars. So it made me think that maybe
Mm.
part of it was in Australia.
Yep.
But and then there's some like unusual spelling and things. I don't think it was. I think it's developed between here in the U.S., Australia, and UK.
Okay. That sounds
I
good.
do know that quite a few programmers are other places, like in Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and India.
That sounds really good. So now you've used it a long time.
Yes. Yeah, I've used it, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And even in the early versions, when it was super open, I had some friends that they'd have their Moodle site, and we just play with it just to set up really quick little experimental courses.
Hmm. It always worked. It did
Yeah.
work. I mean, And I've heard a lot of complaints about it in the old days, but not that much recently, though I haven't, like I said, been really following it. But it sounds like people are getting used to it. And would you say a lot of people have been waiting for this upgrade for a long, long time?
Well, yeah, because some of the frustrations with it, um, it's okay. It always had Big Blue Button for its web interface,
Hmm.
and that is limited. Then also the main thing though is that it just did not have a very easy to use interface, and also the user experience you didn't have really drag and drop capability, and you get lost in where you went. So you had to like basically go back and forth and negotiate all of the all of the ways to populate. But that said, one of the things I find that is like best about Moodle is it's pretty easy to make smart assessments. So you can set up the assessments so that if you get the passing grade, it automatically takes you to the places where you need to go, either the remediation or to the next level. And then when you pass the entire course, when you pass the the module or whatever, but when you pass the entire course, you can actually set it up so it automatically prints out a certificate
That's great. Yeah, simple things, but they make a big difference.
and badges for that matter. So it
Okay.
can work with like, Badger and all that. So
Okay. So you get
it's nice.
that's good. Well, for you folks out there watching, a quick intro into Moodle. Keep an eye on it, especially if you are in academia or any kind of school. Even some businesses do use it. Not a lot, but I know some do. And the reason why a lot of businesses do like it is because it's not that expensive. The implementations even aren't that difficult, and it tends to work pretty much out of the box from what I've been reading, short of if you want to modify things. But
Well, if
yeah,
you, yeah, and just to jump in here, so if you wanted to set up your own consulting business or um, counseling or anything like that, and you want to charge, it's super easy because all you have to do is integrate it in with either um, PayPal or whatever you're using to Venmo or whatever for um, and then and so it's a really good way to set up your own little training um, business.
no, that's good. Well, anyway, that wraps it up for this week. Susan's going to
Yeah.
be out next week, but we'll have another show the following week. We've already started scheduling people, and we've got some, and we have a new show that's going to be coming out. We're still trying to figure out the name, but we'll have that the week after next, and that should be a very fun show, all about problems and solutions. Not just problems, but let's solve some problems. Anyway, Susan, have a good trip next week, and we will see you then. And for all you folks, please subscribe. We're almost like 35 people away from 1,000 subscribers. Amazing. We never really went after subscribers, but please subscribe. It'll be fun. I want to know what happens at 1,000. Maybe they just disintegrate us at that point. Who knows? But we should have fun. Susan, is always a pleasure, and we will see you in about a week and a half.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everyone. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, that was cute. It didn't go. Here we go.